essence, what I did was I quickly put something together for search engine optimization for SCORE New York City mentors. A big part of this is really, how do we mentor our clients who have websites? This is probably something that many of us have seen, wherein they ask, can you review my website? That is a frequent question asked by our mentees who have websites. And so then, of course, we give our valued opinions on the website with our best intentions. The mentee then goes through the time, sometimes expenses to execute and the recommended changes and edits. Question we want to ask ourselves, though, really is the results. Does our input actually have an effect on the business of the mentee's website? If the website doesn't have any visitors, will the effect of our advice be productive? More importantly, from our perspective, how can the mentee measure the effectiveness of the advice offered and put it into action? So as I say, the advice certainly is well-meaning, but could be misdirected because websites first have to be seen before the effect of website changes can then be realized. Google actually calls this process A, acquisition, B, behavior, and C, conversion. In other words, we have to get people traffic to the website first and then see how they're acting within the website before we actually get the conversion, wherein the design helps in these areas. A lot of the input that we give usually comes in the design aspect, which is down here in the conversion. So what I'm going to talk about really is the acquisition part. Acquisition is the first priority when we're talking about our clients' websites. And given the importance of traffic acquisition for the client website, we have to look at website traffic sources. Historically, or at least within the last 3 years, if you look at these traffic sources, organic is essentially organic, right? Direct is when people type the name of our client's website. Referrals is when there are backlinks from other websites that bring people to our clients' websites. Social is social media. Email is email. Okay. Paid is any advertising-based acquisition to our clients' websites. So you'll see here that the most significant traffic source to websites is usually organic search. Because organic search is such a significant part of traffic to our clients' websites, this is the basis of the importance for search engine optimization. So when we talk about sources of search engine optimization, we now look at the largest source of organic search traffic. As you can imagine, Google is responsible for over 60% of website traffic referred. Given that YouTube is also owned by Google, this essentially is responsible for almost 67% of traffic referred to people's websites. As such, to start, we will concentrate on Google for search engine optimization and use those learnings and apply them to other sources. This is Google's stated mission. Our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. If that is Google's mission, this then should be our customers or our client search mission. Help Google organize my information to make it universally accessible and useful. So the key here really is when we think about that, we have to understand that Google has algorithms that it uses essentially to rank people's websites. The primary ranking factors for people's websites in Google search algorithm is relevance. Is the page delivered relevant to the searcher's query? Authority. Is the content provided robust enough to denote authority for that search? Does it denote what is called EEAT, experience, expertise, authority, and trust? User satisfaction. Does the site provide value and satisfaction to the searcher? Does the site deliver a pleasurable experience to the searcher? And there are metrics to measure that, which one can go into at a later stage. The point here, okay, is that there are main SEO classification categories. There are 3 main categories of SEO. But honestly, there's 64 categories across the board for people who dive into search engine optimization in varying degrees of detail. On-page SEO, that which happens on our websites, on our clients' websites. Off-page SEO, that which happens away from our clients' websites and drives traffic to them. And then there's technical SEO, which are activities on the website like site speed, structured data. I can go into that much later on, but that's the technical aspect. Truth of the matter is, the main category to add to this listing, not any of these 64, but of these 3 listings, the main category of this listing for our SCORE mentees is something called local SEO, which is most applicable for any businesses with physical locations. Essentially, local SEO is most helpful for near me type searches. Okay. So when we see, this is what we see more often than not when we are dealing with our clients' websites, this is the first thing they ask us. They come, they pull up their website and they say, what do you think? How would you change my website? What would you direct? This is what we see, fair enough. But is this really important for Google? Not really, because this is what Google sees on page and technical SEO. So that's the first part for us to understand. This, we usually give our input on this, but from a Google standpoint, it's sort of not important. This is what's more important from Google's standpoint. So how does a search engine work? The search engine works is when our web pages now get put up, Google then sends a crawler, which is basically automated programs that go in, they schedule it, they go and review the website of our clients. Then it will then break up those pages. It will come back and revisit them and do pretty much what's called an indexing process. Well, they will parse out all the information on our clients' pages and start indexing them and then ranking them based on this. But the third part is now they're ready to rank. Those pages have now been indexed. Google has now classified them and said, this page does this page does that. Now it waits and they're getting ready to be ranked. So now the client comes in. The client types in their request. This goes then into the query engine, which then meets up with the index pages that Google has already indexed. And Google will now rank those pages and bring them back to the client based on the client search query and the indexing. You see, another way of looking at it is the searcher, if you would, is a candidate. And they go to the search engine, which essentially is a matchmaker based on 3 words, 5 words, 7 words, 2 words, whatever, in the search query. The search engine now has to go to all the websites that are out there. And then based on those 3 words, 5 words, 7 words, try to guess which of those websites best fits what it believes is the intention of the searcher. It will then return them in ranked order. Okay? And so everything within the website, the keywords, the architecture, are the images optimized? Does the website load quickly? Is the data published, updated? Is it mobile optimized? As you can imagine, all of these have an impact on whether or not the search engine, the matchmaker, will rank a person's website higher than another's. So let's look at it another way. It starts with a searcher. They have a need or a question, and they're ready to get that question answered online. So they go to a search engine ready to get their question answered. They type in their query, as most of us do. And as you know, whenever you actually type something, with every new letter you put in, Google changes this result. Okay. This dynamic suggestion essentially is an autocomplete wherein the algorithm is trying to read their minds. It's trying to read the mind of the searcher to give suggestions on what is it that you're looking for. You go ahead and you press enter. Now you come in with something called a SERP. I will use that a lot. SERP, a search engine results page. The SERP then gets returned. The keywords highlighted will bold relevant words and synonyms. You can see here. Now here's a fascinating thing. I asked for free business mentoring. Why is small business highlighted? I can see free business. I can see mentors, business. Well, because the keywords highlight bold, relevant words and synonyms, but more importantly, from our standpoint, context and relevance is more important than literal keywords, as you can see. Remember, the algorithm is trying to read the mind of the searcher, and search engine results page are always consistent. There is always a URL slug, there is a title tag, there is a meta description, and then every once in a while, you'll get something called structured data or schema. So this is now the code. Here is the URL slug. Here is a title tag. Here is the meta description. Now watch this. The meta description over here in the code, from planning to execution, get resources or real-time assistance for every stage of your business, is different from the meta description that resulted in my SERP, which said, need help starting or growing your small business? SCORE provides free business advice. Why? Because my query was best free business mentoring. Therefore, Google will not always return what is in the code, but what it feels answers the question best. Because remember, what Google wants to do is get the most clicks, satisfy the searcher. Okay? So now this is essentially what is returned. You notice we talked about keywords initially. Well, when we think about keywords, what's the big deal with keywords? Well, keywords, the role of keywords in search essentially is keywords are a reflection of search intent. What is the potential customer or consumer looking for? Are they looking for help? Are they looking for a specific product? Are they looking for information? Okay. Because essentially the way Google looks at it is it starts with a consumer need. So as much as possible, avoid generic and short tail keywords because that's too broad. Feel free to write out phrases and multi-word combinations. Try to be as specific as possible. Remember the way this algorithm works. Try to optimize and pick the best possible keywords and or phrases or combinations to encourage engagement. Remember, websites in essence do not rank, but web pages do. Google will return a specific web page to answer a specific query. Google will return, again, a specific search engine results page based on the nature of the searcher's query. So these are the various queries. There's informational queries, commercial queries, transactional, and navigation. From the broadest, informational, who, why, what, where, when, how, now we've found pretty much the listing of that which we want to consider. Then the other kinds of searches that start narrowing, we do what are called commercial intent searches, this versus that, better or worse comparisons and feature lists. The closer we are to actually making the engagement, we actually do what are called transactional searches, free shipping, pricing, coupons, where to buy. And the most specific searches are what are called navigational searches, brand searches where your intent is set or a specific website. You see, the search engine result page output will differ heavily based on what Google believes the search intent is. For example, an informational search, who is Will Smith, will be this kind of output, and it will be followed by people also asked, top stories about him, his IMDb profile, videos from him, other organic results, related searches, and his social media ID. If the question is best free business mentoring, which is in essence a commercial search, this will show up, okay, followed by discussions and forums, followed by other organic results, ads, people also search for, okay, a transactional one, when you say buy Nike shoes, obviously these are ads, but then that will be followed by organic results of Nike.com, a local map of where you can buy Nike shoes, other stores wherein you can buy Nike, okay, popular products, ads, related searches. And something which was navigational. I said Nike. Obviously, you get this and you'll get pretty much the knowledge graph. And that will be followed by a local map where the closest Nike is, images of Nike shoes, social media IDs, a Wikipedia page of Nike, product pages of Nike products, and so forth, and other related searches. My point here, okay, is that depending on the search intent, the search engine results page will be different, and therefore the search rankings will be different, okay? So the main point to keep in mind for keywords, don't worry about specific keywords themselves. Focus on the search intent and the questions that the client wants answered. Because the better the website holistically answers the question, in essence, the higher the website will rank. Start with the questions and queries and then distill them down to the keywords. Now you've got a set of keywords for which you want your client's website to rank. What do we do with the keywords? Well, as you can imagine, keywords have to populate areas all over our clients' websites because it has to give signals to the search engine, right, for those semantic reads. So keywords have to go into page title, meta descriptions, subheadings, content, images, URLs, link or anchor text, social media, or any kind of name, address, phone number citations or directories. In other words, page title, remember, on page, off page technical, on page. Meta description, on page. Subheadings, on page. The content will be on page. Images have to be, you have to define what the images are so that the search engine knows what they are. Another on-page definition. URL, on page. Link anchor text. If it's a backlink, that's an off page. If it is an internal link, links myself or blogs that I want to send to the homepage, that is an on-page link. Okay. Social media, off-page linking. Directories and citations, off-page linking that gives signals to the search algorithm that you can come to my website. The more off-page searches and links there are, the more we exist. So try to close this out. How do we help our mentees with SEO? Step one, make sure that our mentee has installed tracking software on their website. Google Analytics is our go-to. It's free. Relatively easy to install, frankly, okay? And it gives a lot of data, very, very comprehensive. Step 2, perform a search engine optimization audit. Step 3, review the search engine optimization audit results with the mentee and draw up an action plan as well as you can. And step 4, schedule the follow-on sessions to review results and tweak accordingly. Here's a quick secret of why I'm able to do as many sessions as I do. It's usually because of this step 4, because very seldom are we able to get the answers in one session. It has to be a continuous follow-on. Step 1, make sure the mentee has installed tracking software on their website. Google Analytics, Google Search, how to install Google Analytics on the website platform, Wix, WordPress, Shopify website. If the mentee doesn't know what the website platform is, run the website through something called builtwith.com and look for content management system. That will tell you if it's a Wix website, if it's a WordPress website, Shopify, Squarespace, etc. Now you've got that. You see, the code won't start collecting data right away, but the baseline is set before you do any SEO activities. So if you perceive that the client wants you to have a discussion about the website and you set the meeting away 2 weeks away, go ahead and do a built with, say, I see that your website is a Shopify website. Here's a Google of how to install Google Analytics on your website. Why don't you install that? And so when we meet, we'll have something to look at, okay? Step 2, perform an SEO audit of the website. Recommended audit websites. One is SEO Optimer, and this is free, and you can do up to 3 SEO audits per day. One is SEO Mator, SEO Mator, okay? And with this link, which will give you a downloadable PDF report. Bearfox Marketing, I used to like this, but the problem with them is they actually require you to email, and they will email you the results afterwards. I would stick with the top 2, SEO Optimer and SEO Mator. Okay. Enter the mentee website and wait for the results. Now you get the results. It usually takes 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Review the recommendations in the audit and walk through them with the mentee. Tackle what can be handled more quickly from the mentee standpoint. On-page SEO is the first. Social links is the second. Usability and performance, third. That can be outsourced to Fiverr and to Upwork. Okay. Usually performance and usability is a speed issue, load management, and so forth. That one can be outsourced. Okay. Links is the fourth. This is a more long-term solution with a lot of executional steps to do. Okay. Now, then afterwards, step 4, follow-on sessions are really to review the progress. You can review organic search acquisition to track progress in it, if any. Tweak the approach accordingly in subsequent sessions. What you do is you customize your time period. This here is Google Analytics for the score, basically for score.org. Okay. You can customize a time period, compare one period versus another. Then you can evaluate the change in organic search performance over that period. You see here? So theoretically, what happened, I had to pick this because I had to look for something when the organic search results increased for score. And there you go, okay? And so quickly, just some SEO benchmarks. 79% of generated leads don't convert into sales. 56% of leads showing on websites aren't ready to buy yet. 55% of marketers say that finding leads that convert one of the biggest challenges. 40% of online transactions happen on mobile. That's the need for mobile optimization. 3% is an average conversion rate across all e-commerce business. 2% is the average conversion rate across all industries. And 81% of consumers need to trust a brand before they buy from them. 37% more likely to buy from a mobile responsive website. 15% is how much higher conversion rates are when the mobile website loads in 2 seconds or less. Thus, the importance for speed optimization. 7% is how much conversions increase when you increase website speed by 1 second. And again, 3% is the average conversion